Hey there, Mr. Redder here. Welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled People Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. Karen ruins my professional cookware. After that, am I the jerk for making my boyfriend do all of the chores? And after that, 6 dirty dishes made me quit this job. Now for every thumbs up this video gets, 1 Karen does not get to destroy anyone's cookware. Oh, how I love the sound of forks scraping on Teflon. So please smash that like button. And subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. Karen ruins my professional cookware. The problem started when my girlfriend moved in about 2 years ago. I'm a former professional chef with a great passion for food. Over the years, I've gotten myself a lot of kitchen equipment that's quite expensive. If it breaks, I won't be able to replace it for at least a couple of months, that I take care of as if it's my little babies. I have knives, pots, and pans that I've kept in pristine condition despite using some of them a lot for 10 years or more. I also have a bunch of cheap, low-quality equipment in my kitchen that I call my crap pans. When she moved in, she asked me about them and why I don't just throw them away, and I jokingly told her that I keep them in case I have people with me that I don't trust in my kitchen. Sometime after she moved in with me, I started noticing scratches in my non-stick pans, dents in my knife edges, and deformations in my pots. I started observing my girlfriend when she was cooking and saw her cutting stuff with one of my Japanese chef knives directly on top of the stainless steel counter, and I told her right away to use a cutting board. I've seen that when she's done with a pan, she puts it under running water to cool it down. She uses dishwashing soap in my cast iron pans, and the list goes on. I've told her multiple times how to take care of the equipment and what not to do, and pretty much every time I correct her, she gets annoyed. So last week I came home, and to my horror, I saw my 5-liter cast iron pot filled up with water that had dishwasher soap in it. It's one of my favorite pots that I've seasoned over the course of 15 years. I snapped and told my girlfriend that she's not allowed to use my expensive equipment anymore, and showed her the crap pans, and I told her that those are the ones she's gonna have to use in the future. She thought I overreacted, but I refused to budge. I'm getting tired of resharpening knives every other day and having to throw out pans that I've inherited from generations back because they got deformed or rusted beyond restoration. She reminded me of how I said the crap pans were for people that I don't trust and questioned whether I trust her or not, which I do, just not with my kitchen equipment. So please enlighten me. Am I the jerk for banning my girlfriend from using my kitchen equipment? I'm gonna say not the jerk. I'm the same as you. I am a one-woman army in the kitchen, and I have some expensive knives and equipment that I've been gifted over the years. I learned how to take good care of them all. I do 99% of the cooking in my house, and my husband used to also accidentally mess up my stuff when he did. I told him to either do the right things to clean them or to just leave it if he forgets how to use it, and I'll take care of it. You explained how to properly clean and care for your stuff, and she isn't doing it. And on top of that, she's getting visibly annoyed when you remind her. She doesn't care about the stuff that you clearly do. Plus, it's not like you gave her no alternative. There are pots and pans and knives that she can still use. I think it's fine to have stuff that's just your own, for whatever reasons you want to have them. In this case, she's not respecting your stuff, so you get to have your own, and she has hers. Well, what do you think? Should OP let his girlfriend use his cookware or not? Please let us know. If Reddit boy scratched my Teflon, he'd need a new head. Am I the jerk for making my boyfriend do all of the chores? I, 30 female, run a small online business from home. November and December are my busiest times of the year when I make a lot of money that allows me to work less during the year. I've been doing this since I was 25, so I've got a decent idea of what I can and cannot do, and focusing on work only for 1 to 2 months is a sacrifice I'm willing to make for the chill rest of the year. This year, I've moved in with my boyfriend, male 35. Well, technically, he moved in with me because I own the house, so it was a no-brainer for him to move in with me. We split chores half and half. He works full-time, 37.5 hours a week. When he moved in, I had a talk with him, letting him know that I can't do any chores in November or December, and asked if he could pick up the slack because I'm physically unable to do any chores, as I can be working anywhere between 12 to 18 hours a day. I take a full January off to decompress. He said he doubted I worked that much, but we would see. I asked again in September and October to make sure that he was aware that I won't be doing anything. I meal prepped in advance, and I felt he kind of dismissed me. Mid-November, we had an argument about my chores not being done, and I reminded him of what I told him. He said that he thought I wasn't being serious and told me there's no way he'd do 100% of the chores because he's working too. I said, fine, don't do my chores. They can wait until I have time. That's how I was when I lived alone. No problem. I don't make much mess anyway. He wasn't happy, but dropped it. We haven't seen each other much because I've been working so much, but he's been more and more upset and blew up at me today regarding the chores. He said I had to have a better work-life balance and to grow up because the house was a mess. I told him if it was a mess, it was his fault because I barely leave my office. He called me a lazy jerk. I told him I didn't have time for arguing and I went back to working. He stood in front of my locked office door shouting how he couldn't believe I was being serious about not doing chores and it was a jerk move to leave it all up to him. He thinks I'm a major jerk for basically disappearing for 2 months and following through with not doing chores. Am I really the jerk for saying I won't do chores and following through with it? Not the jerk. Someone who called me a lazy jerk in my house wouldn't be living in it much longer. He called you a lazy jerk? That kind of disrespect and rudeness in a relationship would not fly with me and he'd be out. Not the jerk. Wow, your boyfriend is showing his true colors. Believe him. I know that right now you don't have time to rearrange your life, but once January comes around, you should give yourself the gift of losing the deadbeat boyfriend. For what it's worth, I'm married, and both me and my husband have gone through times where we had to pick up the slack for each other for whatever reason. And it's not always a work reason. There could be health issues, the birth of a child, travel, and a billion other things that come up. Your boyfriend is showing you that he will throw a fit and call you names whenever he needs to support you. This is bad, really bad. It should be a deal breaker. Everyone sucks here. You're a grown woman and can clean after yourself. Many people work crazy hours, and not just during 2 months of the year, but they keep their shared living spaces clean. Your boyfriend escalated it by calling you names, and he could have helped out more, especially knowing that you're stressed. I think you need to both sit down and have a conversation, or you may not be happy in a relationship in a month. The answers on here are funny. If the situation were switched and a man said this to his wife, everyone would be saying he is a jerk because she works too and chores should be shared. It should be the same in this other direction as well. She can take an hour or two and do chores. I work for an accounting firm and quite frequently work 14 to 16-hour days, not including commute, and I still keep up my end of the chores. Instead of sleeping in on Saturday or Sunday, I get up and catch up on chores. She can do the same. We get it. A woman hurt you. But no, she communicated perfectly, multiple times, set herself up for success. A 35-year-old freeloader who pays no bills and doesn't want to contribute at all is the jerk. I am a woman. As I said, he's not taking advantage of her. He's complying with their agreement. She can still do her part. She might not do it every day, but she can give up an hour or two of sleep on the weekends to get it done. It's not rocket science. You know full well if a man would have made this post, people would be all over him saying, "Oh, you expect her to do everything and clean up after you, blah blah blah." But when it is a woman posting that she is working a lot and can't do chores, then it's all good and fine. Talk about a double standard. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or her boyfriend? Please let us know. I love it when the minions on Reddit get into quarrels with one another. 6 dirty dishes made me quit this place. Perhaps relevant. I opened this location as the assistant manager, took a long maternity leave, then returned as a shift lead. The GM is the same one I was assistant to. In August, the morning cook quit, and we still haven't replaced him. I've been doing twice the work since then. The start of my shift is stressful because I set up the entire cook line alone. In 90 minutes, I do all this. Turn on all the equipment, turn on 6 of the 8 fryers, clean the filter machine, filter the other 2 fryers and turn them on, top of the fryers with fresh oil, stock up 2 stations with about 150 pounds of meat on each, set up ice bath and batter for both stations, make and hot hold our buffalo sauce, temp all the fryers, start 2 new time control logs, set up sanitation water and hot soapy water, and have all of the fried chicken ready before we open, so drop about 20 minutes before open. Yesterday morning, I was 5 minutes late due to the snow. There were multiple containers of chicken that were half full or less, so I had to spend time consolidating them. There was also not a drop of batter in the house, so I had to make a whole batch, which takes at least 5 minutes. Finally, all our livers were spoiled, so I had to take those out to the dumpster and take them off the POS. Basically, about 15 minutes of not setting up the line. As I'm scrambling to finish the batter I made, the KitchenAid, Marta, tells me I need to do my dishes. I had dropped off a couple chicken containers, the pan that had the spoiled livers, a bowl, and 2 whisks. She was training one of the line cooks in KitchenAid duties, so there was an extra person. This means she had less to do and was doing dishes immediately when they came to the dish pit. As I'm rushing to open the line alone, I saw her just stand around watching the trainee. I clarified 3 times that she was talking about me. I was so taken aback for multiple reasons. 1, she saw me hustling to do all this crap, and I was running behind. 2, I always contribute to the dishes. I even stay late sometimes to do all the dishes and clean the dish pit and put in fresh water before the evening KitchenAid comes. 3, I'm a shift lead, and she's supposedly my subordinate. I simply said, I'm too busy right now, to which she said, no, it doesn't matter. I told her I would do them later then, and walked away to continue setting up the line. It's 25 minutes before open at this point, and I'm only halfway set up. When I come back to get the second batter container, she stops me again. She tells me that, dishes are all our responsibility, and we have to collaborate as a team. Okay then, leave them aside and I'll do them later. She immediately says no. I have no problem doing the dishes. I actually genuinely enjoy it. It's soothing to take something dirty and make it clean. The water is warm and the soap smells nice. I just can't wash dishes and also set up the entire cook line while on a time crunch. The general manager, Bill, arrived a couple minutes after the altercation. Immediately discredited my thoughts and feelings on this. He kept repeating that it wasn't a big deal and that she didn't realize I was so busy. When I said that's not the point, her saying no and lecturing me about how to do my job is called insubordination, Bill actually rolled his eyes and said it's not that serious and to calm down. Marta did not need to apologize to me. She was passive-aggressive the rest of the shift. She put me in danger by not calling out basic kitchen safety things like behind you with hot or oven opening behind you. She opened the oven door and it actually grazed my leg and she didn't say anything. Marta then argued with Bill about cutting the potatoes. He said she was cutting them too small. There was a back and forth, then later I checked and the potatoes were cut the way Marta likes them. She runs this store now apparently. I had to work the rest of the shift feeling like crap. Bill even told me I should apologize to Marta so things aren't awkward. I retorted that she should be written up for insubordination. Bill rolled his eyes again. At the end of my shift, I put in my resignation. I told him that he expects me to do all the manager duties, but I don't get the same respect. I let him know that he discredited everything I said and solidly defended Marta. I even let him know that I don't have a job lined up, but I just couldn't take the disrespect. I'm sad. I loved that job. I could see myself there another 10 or 20 years. But the way Bill handled that situation was the glass-shattering moment. I am not valued. I am not respected. I work so hard, and I have a supportive management style. I'm always helping wherever the work is needed. Being lectured on dishes is just straight up offensive to me, and Bill did nothing to support me. Edit. Talk to the office manager of a dental office I used to work for, and I start Monday. To those weirdos attacking me, weird that you assume my income supports my kid, and my womanly emotions have now caused us to be on the streets. My husband makes more than enough for me to not even work, and it's my choice to work. I quit with nothing lined up because I knew I'd have a new job in days and that I don't even need a job at all. Why do you people spread hate and anger like that? This is just an event that a lot of people here can relate to, nothing more. It's not that serious. Calm down. Am I the jerk for making a scene when my son refused to dance with me? This all started when my son, Ben, graduated high school. There was a formal dance. I was very excited for the mother-son dance. Every time I brought it up, Ben would say he wasn't going to dance. I didn't take him seriously. I thought he was just being shy. When we got to the formal, everything was beautiful. But when it came time for the formal dances, he was nowhere to be seen. I approached my older daughter, Alice, and my husband, who I could see were talking and laughing. I asked if they had seen Ben, and they laughed and said he was going to go hide so he didn't have to dance. I was absolutely heartbroken. My son was literally hiding from me. I stood in the corner during the mother-son dance, watching all his friends dance with their moms. I couldn't take it, so I told my husband and daughter that I was walking home. When they got home, Ben walked right past me and went to his room to get ready for the after party. My daughter hugged me and went to go get ready because she was driving Ben to the party. After our kids left, my husband and I had an argument about what had happened. He said he was appalled at my behavior and that I was acting like a kid. I said that the least Ben could have done was dance with his mother. He said that today was supposed to be about him and his accomplishment, not me. But in my opinion, today should have also been about celebrating the people who helped him get to where he is now. Things got quite heated, and before going inside, my husband said that he wasn't going to force his son to do something he didn't want to do on his day. I was taken aback by this, so I just stayed on the porch, trying not to cry. I thought my husband would support me. Later, my daughter returns home and sees me crying. She gives me a hug and gave me a chocolate bar to try to cheer me up. If no one else, my daughter would be on my side. She danced with me at her graduation. She danced with her father. She understood how important this day was for me. I asked if she was on my side. She said something along the lines of, "I know you're upset, but I don't know what you expected from him." It took a few days before we really spoke to each other again, and after a few weeks, everything went back to normal. Coming back to the present, my daughter recently got engaged. We were talking about it on a family FaceTime, and the topic of when Ben will get married came up. He said he was never going to get married because he doesn't want to deal with another round of dance drama. When I asked him to clarify, he said that he was obviously referring to his graduation. I was appalled at this attack. He won't get married because of me? I won't lie. I'm upset that he still does not want to dance with me, even at his own wedding. Now my husband is mad at me. My son refuses to answer my calls or texts. Am I the jerk for making a scene and starting an argument because my son never wants to dance with me? Edit. Okay, it appears as though the response is pretty unanimous and I have a lot of thinking to do. You're the jerk. When he said, "I don't want to dance," that should have been the end of the story. It sounds like you walk over his boundaries often, and that was one of the first times he's spoken up to you about it. You're going to be a very interesting mother-in-law. I don't understand why he couldn't have had just one dance with his mom for the son and mother dance, while all of his other classmates did. Was he too cool to dance with his mom? I'm pretty sure every teenager feels that way. But the others somehow managed to make it through one dance with their moms. Hopefully he will be really embarrassed for humiliating you this way. I'm not gonna lie, all these "you're the jerk" comments are a little harsh. I do agree with the son having the right to say no to the dance, but it is a little harsh. His mom was excited for this dance. I feel for her too. As someone with a husband that refuses to dance for anything, even weddings, I sympathize. I'm sorry that this experience hurt you, OP. I don't think you're the jerk, but nor is your son. It just sucks. No jerks here. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or her son? Please let us know. If Reddit boy wanted to dance with me, he'd need a new... I know. I'd need a new head. I was just going to say you'd need a new pair of shoes. Those things have been falling apart for the last 3 years. I do work here, now. My birthday is coming up soon, so I decided as a gift to myself, I would buy another guitar. You can never have too many guitars. I figure I'm going to be 55 in a few days, so why not? I went to the local music store I haunt for my strings, straps, picks, and the occasional repair since I'm an incompetent boop when it comes to the electronics. As I walked around trying to see if there was a Strat that caught my interest, I would take a guitar, plug it in, check the action, intonation, see if it worked for me, if I liked the sound. And yes, I played Stairway to Heaven. That forbidden riff is just crap from Wayne's World that people bought into. The employees at the store don't really care about what you play as long as you're not a jerk hammering away on the guitar with the amps cranked up when they just want to get through their workday like everyone else. I also played Pink Floyd, Queen, and some Metallica. As I played, I noticed a girl around 12 or 13 who was watching me. I said, "Do you play guitar?" The girl said with excitement in her voice, "Not yet. I'm here to get my first guitar and sign up for lessons. Mom and Dad said if I saved my money, they would help me buy an electric guitar and pay for lessons." I said, "Nice. Who's your favorite guitarist?" She smiled and said, "I like Wendy. You know, from Prince and the Purple Revolution, and Lita Ford, Carlos Santana, Brian May, and most of all, Eddie Van Halen." Nice. Can I make a suggestion? The girl nodded, and I suggested to start with an entry-level acoustic. That way if she got bored with it, like some kids do, sadly, it wouldn't be a big loss. Her mother walked over to me and asked if I would help them find one. I agreed and we went over to the acoustic section. We tried several and found a nice dreadnought for a decent price. I told the girl to hold it and see how it handles. The neck was a nice size so she could wrap her hand around it, and the girl said, "It's perfect." I said, "Here, take this pick." I showed her how to hold it, and I gave her a quick lesson on how to play the basic one string at a time and taught her how to play the happy birthday song real quick. She's a natural and picked it up quickly. I found the guitar I wanted, a Flying V, and walked over to the register with it in my greedy hands. The mother said to the cashier, "We'll take this one, and I want to sign my daughter up for lessons. This salesman is really good. Will he be giving the lessons?" The cashier, who I've known for years, said, "He doesn't work here. He's a customer like you. But I have known him since we opened, and he's a really good guitarist. I've been wanting to hire him as a teacher for a long time." The mother said, "He doesn't work here? But he's so good at sales and a good teacher." The cashier looked at me and said, "There's a job offer on the table. You wouldn't deny this sweet girl the chance to learn from you, would you?" I looked at the girl, who was now giving me the biggest doe eyes, and said simply, "Please." I said, "I just retired from working last month. I guess I'm now semi-retired. I never thought in my life I would be giving guitar lessons, but now every other day I'm going to be giving lessons, at a decent pay too. Crazy how things work out." I know this isn't usually what you read here, but I thought it was fitting. And sorry about formatting, I'm not a professional writer by trade. My past life, I owned a restaurant. Am I the jerk for going on a trip with my family that my wife isn't going on? Recently, my parents surprised me, 26 male, and my siblings, who are 16 and 19, with a ski trip this December, the day after Christmas. My parents offered to pay for my expenses and said that my wife, who's 24, was welcome to come, but she would need to pay her own way. My wife and I are okay financially, but with the trip being so close to Christmas, we wouldn't be able to afford to pay for her to go. Despite this, I really wanted to go on the trip, as it was always a dream of mine to go on a trip like this. My family grew up dirt poor until I was about 15 when my parents' business took off, and now they're extremely comfortable and they can afford to pay for trips like this for us. They could certainly afford to pay for my wife to also go, but they have always been this way about when it comes to paying for things for me versus my wife. My parents think it's only fair to pay for me when we go out to eat or go on trips, because they're still paying for my siblings. I don't ask them to, but it is nice to save money, so on every trip they will pay my way, room and board, excursions, meals, while my wife was expected to pay her way. This started before we were married. This has always bothered my wife, especially after we got married and they still excluded her. So in these past 2 years since we got married, I tried to limit the trips since they bother her so much. But this is a once-in-a-lifetime trip for me, so I thought she would be supportive of me going. But she's very upset and hurt. She wants to go on the trip, but like I said, we just can't afford it, which she understands. She told me she does want me to have this experience, but she's sad because she thinks my parents purposefully exclude her. Am I the jerk for choosing to go on the trip and leaving her behind? I still have time to cancel on my parents, but I know they would be sad. So, you are well aware that your parents are intentionally excluding your wife, and apparently this is definitely not the first time, and you don't understand why she's so hurt and upset about this, especially when it's during Christmas? Think about it, dude. Think real hard. You're the jerk. You really think your parents don't know what they're doing here? Save up and do a similar trip with your wife as a couple if it's that important to you. You're the jerk. You're the jerk. Either she's family to your parents or she isn't, and clearly she isn't. And you're a serious jerk to your wife by letting your family continuously exclude her. They should either be paying for both of you, or you and your wife should be covering for the two of yourselves. Well, what do you think? Is OP the jerk or not? Please let us know.
Bruh, what's with all the adults on Reddit who still have mommy and daddy pay for their stuff? I just don't get it.
Am I the jerk for telling the entire family that my brother is getting married after he made the wedding on my son's birthday? I'm one of 6 kids, but this post is about my younger brother, who's 40. I have 4 kids, who are 20, 18, 15, and 10. My brother has 5, who are 16, 15, 12, 3, and 4. We don't get together often because my girls and his oldest don't get along, and because we're a 4-hour plane ride from each other. My son's birthday is around Thanksgiving. We've always had my family on Thanksgiving, and we always have a big family party for his birthday. My brother is a busy person. He owns a large company. So I was asking him what day he'd be available for the party. He wasn't available any day, which I thought was weird considering he always tries to meet with me and the rest of our family around Thanksgiving. Then I got a text from a mutual friend asking what I was wearing to my brother's wedding and if I had any ideas for a gift since he couldn't find a registry. I asked her what she was talking about, and my friend told me that he was getting married. I didn't even know he was engaged. He told us last year that he was in a relationship and they had just had a child together, but nothing about getting married. After some digging, I found out that the wedding would be on my son's birthday, and only 2 of our siblings and their kids are invited. I thought this was incredibly rude of him, so I decided to tell the entire family at Thanksgiving that he was getting married, when and where. Some family members made an appearance at his wedding, and he found out I was the one who told them about it. He called me the next day screaming at me for ruining his wedding, then blocked me on everything. I'm starting to feel bad, so I wanted to know if I was the jerk. Edit. I'm seeing that some people are confused. First of all, my brother didn't want a small wedding. There were at least 300 to 400 people at the wedding. Second, the wedding was not on Thanksgiving. It was on my son's birthday, which is very close to Thanksgiving. You're the jerk. Holy moly. Clearly, he has a reason for not inviting you and the other family. Maybe do some self-reflection into that. You maliciously told your family they crashed his wedding. I hope your apple falls far away from the tree. Karen neighbor asks me to close my windows. I, 30 female, work from home. I also obviously live at home. I never have my curtains or blinds closed unless it's too sunny out or too hot. The issue. Recently, my neighbors approached me when I was outside taking out the trash and informed me that they were uncomfortable with being able to see into my windows and the fact that I can always see into theirs. I don't. Frankly, I could give a hoot about what my neighbors are doing. I'm either watching TV, working, or sleeping, or not at home. I just told them not to worry because I'm not looking anyways. They went on about my life and thought little more of it. A few weeks passed, and then my neighbors caught me outside again while I was walking home and they were washing their car. This time, they were much more abrasive, essentially telling me I needed to close my blinds from now on because they're tired of being uncomfortable with my windows always open. I again told them I don't pay attention to them, and they're the ones constantly checking in. They can close their own blinds. Then they said that they stopped using their patio because they can see me working and they know I'm taking glances at them. I just laughed at them at that point and told them they're nowhere near as interesting as they think for me to waste my time looking at them. Petty, I know, but I didn't appreciate their attitude. This was a few days ago. I told some friends, and naturally some are on my side and others are telling me I'm creepy and I just need to close my blinds like a normal person. Now I'm second guessing myself and I'm looking to you, Reddit. I don't think I'm the jerk here, but maybe I'm biased towards myself and my own needs. So, am I the jerk? Edit, to note as there's been some confusion about how the setup is. We're not in the same building. I live in a corner unit of my building. Very lucky, no neighbors above or below me in my building on the second floor. Directly across from me is another older apartment building with giant evergreen trees for privacy, like 50 to 75 feet tall. They're not the issue. The neighbors with the issue are beside that building to the left, so they have to look diagonally across the alley to look into my apartment. Not the jerk. Your neighbors are ridiculously paranoid. If they have such a problem with your blinds open, why don't they just close theirs? The current situation is only bothering them, so they should be the ones to come up with a solution. Well, what would you do in this situation? Would you close your blinds to keep the neighbors happy or not? Please let us know.
I'd open them even more and wave at them every time I see them. You want creepy? I'll show you creepy.
Try to pile on more work to raise your bonus? Not gonna happen. I oversee a team of 12 folks when it's fully staffed. We had a fellow move out of state for school, a lady retired to care for her grandkids when her daughter got sick, then 3 people promote up within the organization all within 4 weeks' time, so almost half the team suddenly became unavailable. While I'm involved in the recruiting and onboarding process, management up to 3 levels above me tends to be a bottleneck. Each time someone let me know that they're moving on, I inform management and gave them a running total. We're at 84% staffing, we're at 66% staffing, etc. Ads were placed, first round interviews conducted by me and a team lead. Second interviews recommended to the next level of management, and that's where the process suddenly stopped. For a week, then 2, then 3. It commonly takes 2 to 3 weeks after hire to bring a new person up to speed to start being productive, and perhaps 8 weeks for a new person to reach 90 to 95% of median productivity goals. The existing team was ready to pull together and work harder to keep up the work, but I took each one aside and coached them that the heavy workload they were under was not their problem to solve. Yes, customers were complaining. Yes, other groups in the organization were getting frustrated that our team wasn't getting things done in a timely fashion. I encouraged them to work efficiently and well, but to not put in extra unpaid time or contribute their own resources to projects. And if anyone was insistent in their complaints regarding the team's productivity, send them to me and I would explain the situation. Middle and upper manglement across the organization started vocalizing about how little work was getting done. When I played the Uno reverse card that, hey, all we need is adequate, well-trained staff and we'll be able to keep up, and managers 1, 2, and probably executive 1 all have potential interviewees on their desk for almost a month now, I started getting the stink eye from those folks. I found out later that one or a couple of these folks that I report to and were also the next rungs in the hiring ladder had proposed the idea that this team could run just as well a little leaner, so they arranged to find out. Oopsie daisy. Metrics indicated that organizational goals weren't met because of their decision, but I was able to provide the stats that proved that the team's individual goals were met, and that in many respects, per-person efficiencies were improved. My team members got their bonus, middle management failed to achieve, so no bonus for them that year. Reply: well done. Congrats on backing up and looking out for your team. 2 years ago, I was part of a team of 6. Then 2 were let go. Then another left for a new job. Then the lockdown and one was laid off. Then another hit her breaking point and left. By May, I was the only one left. I tried, but didn't run myself into the ground. Had a meltdown on my boss and got a substantial raise. Let a lot of things go as I prioritized my tasks. We're back up to 5 now, and the auditors are asking questions about why stuff wasn't done in the latter part of 2019 and early 2020. Oops. I bluntly told the auditors that we had a drastic staff decrease and I was not able to do the work of 6 people. They understood completely, but middle management is now scrambling to do all the missed work, and I got another raise because absolutely nothing in my job description was pinged by the auditors.
Support our channel by joining as a member today, and we'll give you a shout out in our next video.
Or come watch this video next. You won't believe what Karen does in that one.